This video is brought to you by the Ridge Wallet. This incredible wallet is light, sleek, and industrial. Plus, it doesn't fold and awkwardly bulge out of your back pocket. It goes into your front pocket and will seriously change your whole pocket game. If you've moved on from the flip phone, don't you think it's time to let that 90s style wallet that your father uses behind? Ridge wallets hold to 12 cards, plus all the cash that you need. You can choose from over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. It is the best wallet you can buy. You don't just have to take my word for it, because there's over 30,000 5-star reviews. And I'll admit I was skeptical at first, but once I tried it, I will never go back. And you know what? Zero pressure. Test it out for 45 days. If you don't love it, send it back, get a full refund. If you decide to keep it, there's a lifetime warranty. Click the link in the description to get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns. Go to ridge.com/Chael today. That's ridge.com/Chael and use the promo code Chael. All right, couple days removed from Diaz versus Lawler. And I must tell you, they're calling this martial arts, correct? I don't know that I agree, but we call it martial arts. Art is a form of expression, which is a form of communication, which is open to interpretation. So now that a few days has gone by, we do have a little bit more information. And if I was to back this tape up even before the fight happened, I have to start with fight week, where Team Diaz contacts the promotion, being the UFC, and asks to change weight classes. What do we make of that? Dana got asked this very question. I think it was John Morgan, but somebody asked Dana directly, why? And Dana said, I don't know. I imagine because he just didn't want to cut weight. That could be true, but you're speaking to a discipline. And you're speaking to how bad do we want to be here? And I will tell you, to have success, particularly in a 5-round environment against a world champion. I think we keep forgetting who Nick had to go fight. Nick had to go fight a world champion who had the benefit of having experience with Nick. I mean, in all fairness, in hindsight, maybe clearer. But even leading into it, it should have been obvious. This is a hard night, and that's all I'm suggesting. It's a very hard night that's going to require some mental toughness. Do I have my gas tank full? Physically, is my cardio in place? But if physically my cardio is in place and the work has been done, then generally that will help you mentally to dig deep if you really want to be there. For sure, in 5 rounds, for sure, you are going to have to want to be there. That question will be asked of both men. Don't think for one moment, even in the 12 minutes that you saw, that Robbie Lawler hadn't considered fighting a way out. Of course he did. Probably within the first minute. Believe it or not, every fighter does. Every fighter, no matter how well it's going, wants it to be over and has to fight themselves to just stay in the fire. I bring that to you because how bad do you want it is a real thing. It's a real thing. And if we were to look at the fact that, look, I don't even want to sit in a sauna and get these last X amount of pounds off. Okay, but you're giving us a clue. We now have a clue. That fight was much closer than I believe Nick knew. I think Nick just thought, I'm a little more tired than I'm used to being at this point. I'm taking a little harder shot specifically to the body than I'm used to taking to this point. I'm only halfway through it. I'm not likely to flip the result. I am likely to take 200 more punches while getting the same result. Now, these are negative conversations, but there is a negative voice in your head at all times if you're in this sport. And possibly a reset, make it through the round. Just get through this round. Reset. We saw Ortega do that. We didn't think Ortega was going to get out of the 4th round. Many people that I was sitting with did not think he was going to answer the bell for the 5th round. He came out and tried to win the damn fight in the 5th round. He came out and was putting such a pressure on Volkanovski that Volkanovski, for the only time of the night, looked fatigued in the 5th round. I'm bringing that to you because the greats have to reset. Henry Cejudo comes to mind. Kamaru Usman. Kamaru Usman not only comes to mind, he is the best that I have ever seen. Where things can go wrong and he can put them behind him. Like they were a different day, Kamaru Usman can reset and come out your net with this frame, this stanza, this 30 seconds. Not this fight, not this round, this moment right here. Kamaru Usman can live in that better than anybody I've seen. I don't know that I believe that Nick was aware of what a close fight this was and what a good fight it was. And numbers don't lie. A number of numbers have come out favoring Nick. Now, don't forget those numbers. If you're wondering, well, if Nick touched Robbie more times and they were both standing up and the position never changed, how could Robbie win the round? The judges must have got it wrong. No, that isn't true. First thing judges have to look for is damage. Second thing they look for is octagon control. And if you do go in that order, that's open for interpretation. But I saw what the judges saw. I thought Robbie was landing the harder shots and Robbie was the one to walk him down. But I understand Nick was fighting. It was a fight. These guys were in a fight. And Nick was doing really, really well. Even if 2 rounds are completed, you have both 2 rounds for Robbie. They were 2 close rounds that now, particularly based on the numbers that we see that favor Nick, at least in terms of touching your opponent, could have gone Nick's way. I'm telling you, I think that the judges had it right. I thought it was Robbie too. But if a judge dissented, nobody would cry foul ball. It was a close fight. I'm working hard to prove 1 point, and I'm not positive that Nick knew that Nick knew how tight this was. And it did seem after the fact, with the comment in the ring of I knew I had it coming, it seemed like after the fact, Nick had a predetermined notion that this was going to be about dipping my toe in the water. I'm making a comeback. I'm going to do 3 more of these things, but the first one, I just got to get out of the way. Very common for an athlete who has been removed from the sport to look at it that way. Sometimes that athlete with that negative predetermined mindset will go out and surprise himself and win anyway. But he'll still look back and say, at least I'm right about this. I don't want that performance again. I do not want to take a break again. You'll see fighters have a comeback fight. I challenge you to tell me one fighter you've ever seen that's had 2. Where he takes a break, he comes back, works through whatever that is, 3 or 4, lays out again, and then returns again. It's terrible. The comeback fight is terrible. So to have some negative thoughts, very common. All I'm suggesting, all we have for evidence other than this, as Jake Shields. Jake Shields is as tight with Nick Diaz, been in the room, had more blood, sweat, and tears with Nick Diaz as anybody alive, and Jake shared one thing, only one thing, and it was very quick. But Jake shared that Nick had a 6-week training process and also shared it wasn't enough time. I don't have a follow-up on that, and I wish I did. Because I have known that Nick was returning, was going to fight for 6 months. So why he had a 6-week training camp tells me he was either undisciplined, he was unorganized, and many guys are. We're in a pandemic. There are gyms closed everywhere. There are workouts that you think you have in an hour that you're now doing alone in your garage. So there's a number of reasons why a delay might have happened, but also it could an injury. Possibly Nick was hurt. Nick didn't want to make an excuse. And Jake, quite frankly, didn't either. Jake wasn't making an excuse. He was stating something. We had a 6-week training camp. Guy like Robbie Lawler, 5-round contest. We need more. Okay. I just don't have a problem with it myself. I felt like this is what I was seeing. I think that Nick learned something. I think that Nick might have come in with a lack of confidence and even in defeat has now gained the confidence, realized he can go out there, realized he can push, possibly realizes he shouldn't hit a spinning cartwheel kick 2 seconds into the fight. Whatever happened, though, I submit for you that Nick will be better. I really do believe that. I really do believe that was a rust. I don't want to take anything from Robbie Lawler. Robbie Lawler is a hero for multiple reasons, not only for being the victor, for not losing a single round, for walking Nick Diaz down, fighting him in his own fight, but for taking the fight in a different weight class on 3 days' notice. Robbie is a hero in this story. We never give Robbie credit. I just don't know that Nick got diminished. And if Nick does intend to return, and he had said in his buildup, he wants to fight more consistently, and if he gets beat, then he's going to want to return even sooner. Those were his words. Let's see where that goes. Let's find out the weight class. Let's start to take a look at opponents. Brett Okamoto has thrown out Ben Askren. Ben Askren heard that Okamoto suggested that and accepted. And that's another guy that'll do it at 170, 185. I like Damian Maia. I know that Damian's done, but Ben's done too. And if we're coming back to have some fun, if we're coming back for something special like that, not contenders bouts, then everything's fair game. In an ideal world, Nick would have made 170 pounds so that we know he's a welterweight. Tony Ferguson would have come up. In an absolute perfect world, the winner would retire, the loser would retire. We'd all say goodbye. It's not how this sport works, particularly this industry, so I realize that we're dreaming just a little bit, but I think all options are on the table. And I think if Nick understood how quickly we, the community, will get behind him if he will just give us some direction, what weight class, how quick, we'll help you take it from there.